The Appalachian Mountains don't speak in the way cities do. No honking horns, no electricity humming, no neon signs beckoning life. Instead, they whisper. Their language carries through pine breaths and creek sighs, through footsteps you never see, and wind that sounds like it's remembering. Visitors think they're quiet hills, but locals know better. These mountains are old, older than names, older than memories, and some things that live inside them were never meant to be remembered at all. And I learned that truth the way everyone does in Appalachia, in fear. My name is Leah Whitlow. I didn't grow up in these mountains. I came chasing silence. After my father died, after months of hospitals, machines, prayers echoing without answers, grief lodged itself in my soul like cold iron. My therapist called it complicated mourning. I just called it suffocation. So, when a small rental cabin became available outside a town called Red Hollow, population barely 500, tucked in southern West Virginia, I took it. It sat at the edge of the real mountains, where roads turned to dirt and mailboxes were rusted more than metal. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. McCready, handed me the keys with a long look. "You'll hear things," she said. "Ignore most of them. The rest, well, pray you never hear the rest." I brushed it off then. She was one of those old mountain women with religion in her bones and warnings in her tongue. I thought it charming. I didn't laugh for long. The first night, the cabin wasn't modern, but it was cozy. A wood-burning stove, quilt-covered furniture, shelves of books left by past renters. Thick trees lined the back like watchmen. I unpacked, made tea, and curled up by the window. Peace. Finally. Until sundown. As darkness spread, the forest changed. Not noisier, quieter. Too quiet. Crickets stopped. Owls refused to speak. It was a silence, so complete it throbbed in my skull. Then came the whistle. Slow. Low. Drawn out. One long note followed by 3 short ones. Not like a bird. Not like wind. It sounded human. Someone whistling a tune, not quite in rhythm, not quite in tune. Wandering. Searching. Calling. I froze, mug halfway to my lips. I told myself it was a hunter or someone calling a dog, but it circled the cabin, soft but steady, like footsteps matched to melody. 1 long whistle, 3 short. It stopped at the back porch. Then came a voice, whisper thin, female, almost pleading. "Open the door, please, it's cold." My body locked. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Every instinct inside me screamed. The voice sounded human, yes, but wrong. Like someone wearing a human voice as clothing, not understanding how to shape it. I stayed silent. And then, just as soft, a hiss slipped through the wood. "I know you hear me." A slow tap on the back window. Fingernails. I didn't sleep that night. The town. The next morning, I drove into Red Hollow. The diner was the only place that seemed alive. Mountains men and church grandmas filled the tables. Conversation quieted when I entered, as though I wore city girl neon. The waitress, Ruby, spotted my lost look and handed me a menu. "You're the one renting McCready's place, ain't ya?" "How'd you?" She snorted. "News travels fast. Or maybe the mountains tell us." I didn't laugh that time. I told her about the whistling. Conversations around us died completely. A trucker crossed himself. An old man whispered, "God help her." Ruby leaned in. "That wasn't someone needing help, honey. Sometimes things out there try to sound like us. Want you to feel sorry for him. Want you to open doors." She swallowed. "Did you?" "No." Ruby's shoulders loosened. "Good. Don't ever." I waited for her to say more, but she only placed a hand on mine. In these mountains, once something gets your voice, it gets you. Don't answer. Don't talk back. Don't even whisper. That night, I bolted the windows. The shadow woman. On the 3rd evening, I walked the trail behind the cabin. The leaves glowed gold in sunset, and the world looked so gentle I almost forgot fear. Then I reached a clearing. A small cemetery sat there, hidden by brush. Weather-worn stones leaned like tired elders. Some graves were simple piles of rocks. A few had sunken so deep the earth looked hungry. And someone was kneeling by one of the oldest markers. A woman. Long black hair. Pale skin. bare feet sinking in damp soil. Her dress looked old, too old, fabric like faded mourning cloth from another century. She wasn't weeping. She just knelt, stone still, like time had abandoned her. Then she turned her head slowly, like her bones hurt to move. There was no face, just gray, smooth skin. No eyes, no mouth, no features. Yet she grew aware of me, like she was smelling my fear. I couldn't scream. My voice died in my throat. She lifted a hand,
pointed at me.
Her head twitched once. Then she vanished. Not walked, not faded, vanished. I stumbled back to the cabin in blind panic. My lungs forgot air. My legs forgot strength. Inside, I locked the door, dragged a dresser against it, then sagged onto the floor shaking. I didn't sleep that night either. The knockers. Sleep deprivation does strange things. On the fifth night, my mind buzzed like broken wires. Around midnight, tapping began. Soft, like fingertips. Tap, 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 tap. At the walls. The windows. Everywhere, at once. Then came heavier knocks. Footsteps. Something running across the roof. My phone lit up with no signal. I hid under blankets like a child, whispering to myself, "It's not real. It can't be." But it was. The doorknob twisted. Slowly. Metal groaning. I held my breath. The stove crackled. A branch brushed glass. And through the door came a voice. My father's. "Leah, sweetheart. Let me in." That voice was carved in my bones. I hadn't heard it since he died, yet here it was, rich with love and familiarity.
"Leah.
It's really me. I found you. Please open the door. I'm scared out here." My body leaned forward without permission. I wanted to open it more than I had ever wanted anything. I reached the latch. Then a memory. Ruby's warning. Once something gets your voice, it gets you. The voice outside grew irritated. Then angry. Then monstrous. "Open the door, girl." I backed away. Something slammed the door. Hard. Again. The wood shook. Hinges screamed. And then a low laughter seeped in like poison. Not human. Amused. Hunting. It floated away into the trees, whistling that same pattern. One long note. Three short. The elder. The next morning I went to town again. I looked like someone dragged through a nightmare. Ruby didn't even ask. She grabbed my arm and pulled me into the back, where an old man sat. Beard like mountain frost. Eyes like flint. People called him Waylon, but whispered he was a ridge watcher. A keeper of old ways. He listened to my story without a blink. "That wasn't your daddy." "I know." He nodded. "The whistler. Old thing. Older than settlers. Older than Cherokee tales. Wears voices like skins." "Why me?" "You came grieving," he said quietly. "Mountains like grief. Easy to twist." Waylon handed me a pouch of herbs and a chalk-white stone etched with symbols. "Put this above your door. Burn the herbs at sundown. And don't listen to anything outside after dark. If you hear a voice you love," he paused, "pretend they never existed. What happens if it gets inside?" He didn't answer. His silence was worse than a threat. The final night. I followed his instructions. Sundown bled red across mountains like the sky itself feared nightfall. I lit the herbs. Smoke curled earthy and sharp. I placed the runestone above the door. For hours, nothing happened. Then the world outside changed. Not wind. Not footsteps. Something like pressure. Like the air thickened with hunger. Then, scratch. 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 Not on the door. From the walls inside. I backed into a corner. Shadows warped. Wood creaked as though the cabin breathed. Then, "Leah." My mother's voice. Gentle. Loving. My mother who lived far away and texted me prayers every morning. "Honey, please open the door. I need you." I gripped my sweater so hard my fingers hurt. Another voice layered on hers, my father. Then my therapist. Then someone crying. Then children laughing. Voices I knew. Voices I didn't. Then silence. Then whispering right behind my ear. "You don't belong here." I turned slowly. Nothing. The stove went out. Cold spilled through the room. The cabin groaned as if sinking. Then the whistling began again. Only this time it was inside. 1 long note, 3 short. I screamed and pressed my palms to my ears. The runestone above the door glowed faintly, a warm white hum. The voices hissed in frustration. Nails scratched. Windows rattled. Let us in. Something slammed the roof, so hard dust rained. A handprint burned into the window glass, dark, long-fingered, wrong. I curled on the floor, shaking, whispering a prayer I didn't know I remembered. For hours, the mountain hunted my soul. Then dawn came. Light poured in. The cabin exhaled, and the presence, whatever it was, drifted back into trees like fog pulled by unseen fingers. The runestone crumbled to dust. I left that morning.
Didn't say goodbye.
Didn't look back. Red Hollow disappeared in my rear view like it had never existed. People ask why I refuse to camp now. Why I won't hike. Why I jump at whistles. I tell them the truth. The mountains aren't silent. They are patient. And somewhere in West Virginia, a thing still waits in the trees, whistling for the girl who didn't open the door. I still hear it in dreams. 1 long note, 3 short. Sometimes, I think it's getting closer.